glad to have with us here today two individuals that come representing Meals on Wheels of San Antonio, and they are Ariana Barbour. She is the Director of Marketing and Communications. Along with her is Jose Lerma. I think I said that correctly. Director of Special Initiatives there at also with Meals on Wheels. Thank you so much for joining us. Appreciate y'all being here. Say hello to the people that are listening out there right now.
Sure thing. Thank you so much for having us here today, Sal. We're really excited to have the opportunity to just talk a little bit about what we're doing, what we are working to do, and kind of what the future holds in store for Meals on Wheels and those we serve.
Absolutely. And like I said, Meals on Wheels, if you haven't heard about it, I'm sure maybe you've been coming out of a cave or something, but you constantly keep hearing them. As a matter of fact, you guys are just down the street from where I live. I live in Balcony Heights. You're right there at the corner, right of 410 and Callahan. Is it Callahan? Yeah.
Babcock.
I'm sorry, Babcock. And so I know that y'all are located there, but thank you all for what y'all do, because I know it serves a great need in the community, especially for the seniors. You don't realize that a lot of times there's a lot of people that are, they can't move, they can't travel, and sometimes you are the only ones that, other than maybe a couple of organizations, that provide food for the seniors. So I know that's one of your main things, but I know you'll share a couple of things, maybe other things that you're doing or other things that are coming up. I know the pandemic kind of put a damper on things or changed a lot, and I'm sure you're probably trying to get back into what you were doing or maybe even doing more. So we can start there, a little bit of what Meals on Wheels is, or for those who may not necessarily know about them.
Sure thing. Well, so Meals on Wheels, as the name says, Meals on Wheels San Antonio provides meals to people who are older and disabled and might not be able to leave their homes to get groceries, and then also, even if they could get groceries, they maybe can't make a meal in their own home. So one of the important things that we're doing is providing nutritious, delicious food to them, because if they don't eat it, it doesn't matter what gets delivered, right? So there's a lot of comfort food that we send out. But in addition to delivering that meal, it's also a friendly visit for the people that we're going to see, and it's a safety check, because if they live alone, no one's seeing, if they're okay on a day-to-day basis.
Right.
And so that's first and foremost what we do. When our clients qualify to receive meals, that opens the door to a bunch of other things that we're able to do for them. Like we have our Animals program and our Comfy Casas program and our Friendly Visitors program. Actually, those are all services. But so Animals means that we provide food for the pets of those we serve. We deliver it on a monthly basis. Those pets are often considered like their family members. They're their furry family members, and if we're not there, then that's the company that those people have to keep. And
there's studies out there that being lonely or not having a companion is the same thing as smoking a carton of cigarettes, right? So these
the negative
pets,
aspect of that.
So on their health, so these pets are almost like their children and their loved ones. So we want to make sure our clients aren't feeding their own food to their pets, which has happened. We've had volunteers tell us like they've seen our trays out there, and all that stuff. So we provide supplemental food twice a week, just to make sure they're not spending the limited amount of money that they have on pet food.
Yeah, we don't want them to have to choose between medication and having their pet, right?
Right, exactly.
They're so important.
It's something you think about, but it's true. Like these, I know my mom, they had a couple of dogs, but they see them as their own kids, and they're like, they would rather just make sure that they eat versus, they eat themselves. So, these are things sometimes that you don't really think about, that what you're bringing up is so true.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that you all provide, is something for the
animals.
And it's not just pet food. Part of this service, the animal service, we have volunteers that help walk the dogs, because our clients can't leave their home, so the dogs need to be walked, or maybe the cat needs vaccines or something. So we have volunteers that will take these pets to the vet, get everything they need, and then bring them back to the clients.
If you aren't so much of a people person, if you're an animal lover, we've got something for everybody, really.
Well, that's good to know, because like I said, you don't. I hear Meals on Wheels, and I'm thinking, well, you're bringing food to that's it. But this is what I love to do, because I get to know, I thought there was this, but no, then you say, no, we do this, and we do this, and I'm like, who knew? And that's why we love to do what we do, because we're bringing that information out to people that say, well, I thought you were only delivering food.
Correct. And we like to call it more than a meal. So it's not just you getting a meal, right? That knock on your door, that smile, it's doing a lot more than you think.
The interaction and everything. Right.
We often have volunteers tell us that they feel like that they've walked away with just so much more than they ever expected after delivering. Like they think they're going out and they're doing this for someone else, and it ends up that they've done something good for themselves, which, you know, all sorts of studies show volunteering is so good for the people who do it.
Health benefits that are involved with that.
Especially coming out of the pandemic. Like, most of our meals are delivered by volunteers. About 50% of our meals are delivered by volunteers. The other half is by staff drivers, because not all of the volunteers are going to want to go on those rural routes that we deliver, because we deliver to surrounding counties as well.
Okay.
But it's primarily San Antonio. And the volunteers are really, you know, like the heart of the organization.
Sure.
If we didn't have them, like we wouldn't be here. We wouldn't be able to serve as many people as we serve. And as you were saying, the pandemic kind of put a wrench in things. Jose and I have both been with Meals on Wheels since before the pandemic.
Okay.
And so there's like a real stark contrast of how we operated before in delivering to how we had to do it during the pandemic. And now we're trying to get back to that before picture in a way. Like, we've learned a lot of lessons, but we still need to get back to how we were serving. I don't know, Jose, if you want to talk a little bit about how that's changed.
Yeah, so right now we're serving 4,500 people. That's the way before, and you'll hear, let's say, before pandemic and right now.
Right.
But before, we would see them every day during lunchtime. They would get their meal, and it was just this machine that would work. Pandemic happened. People were staying home. People were getting sick. So we lost that big volunteer base that we had doing it daily. And of course, on our end, we wanted to make sure we were limiting contact with clients.
Sure.
You know, and all that. So we were seeing the clients twice a week. Of course, that isn't because of our mission. We want to be able to see them every day. So we started transitioning to do daily deliveries, and we're doing them in phases. But we need a lot more volunteers now because we added more people during the pandemic.
Okay, so before you were doing it once a week, is that how you delivered as far as...
No, pre-pandemic, we were seeing them 5 days a week, but with the pandemic, to limit contact for everybody's safety, we went down to 2 days a week, providing like several frozen meals at a time, because most days it would be a hot meal if it wasn't like a fresh salad or something like that. So we're still serving primarily frozens, and we don't want to go back to that food model of before of hots and maybe some salads and stuff until everybody can get it, because that's also a hardship on our kitchen. Our kitchen staff goes in every day at like 3:45 in the morning to start. That food is made in our kitchen. The food we deliver is like all made there. We serve, in addition to the 4,500 people that we're serving and delivering meals to, we also provide food for the City of San Antonio senior centers. And so our kitchen is producing 50,000 meals a week.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and if anyone's ever been to our current building, it used to be an old Ryan's or Wyatt's cafeteria.
Yeah,
and
I remember something. It was like a restaurant or something.
I'm pretty sure they weren't producing that equivalent of food
not at all.
in that kitchen.
It's a small kitchen.
See, those are things like, again, that just kind of blow your mind, because you're thinking, well, yeah, I know you'd go do some meals, but when you start giving out the numbers, and then what I'm finding out is that you're doing the meals there at your location as well. So somebody has to come in and do all that work. That's a lot of work. Well, shout out to the people that are doing all that work. Thank you for what you guys are doing there.
Our kitchen crew is phenomenal. We have, when new employees come on board, they have to go shadow, and they often feel like they're like ruining the fine-tuned machine that is the team when they're plating meals and they're going down the line. But it's a really great way for everyone to understand how, like, what everybody does at our organization is important. And one of the things that we're talking about for the future and we're excited about is we're going to have a new facility, a new campus opening actually a little bit farther away from your home, but it'll be off Nacogdoches, just north of 410. So just a few exits up the road.
So you're moving all your operations from there
all
to
of
that
our
new
operations,
location?
yes, because currently we aren't all in that building that's right there. Some of us have space in the office park, and it really, really can be hard to get some stuff done if we're not all in the same place. So we're going to be moving, hopefully, then before Thanksgiving. Knock on all sorts of wood. Things are going well, but that space will more than double our footprint in terms of like having places for all of our staff to sit. The current kitchen we're in, well, that whole building there actually will be able to fit in the kitchen space of the new building. We will be able to get more food delivered ahead of time and be able to store it. Right now we get daily deliveries, so that kitchen staff is turning it all around like really, really fast.
Yeah, right now, if you look at how many meals we make a day, we could be doing that per shift. And we could have up to 3 shifts a day in that new kitchen.
It's like you're going to be running 24 hours almost, or
there's
close?
There's that
discussion.
The opportunity. Yeah, that's right now we can't do that because of space. But in that new kitchen,
in the new one,
that's really our limit.
And then also, I was going to ask you. I know what you were probably doing before the pandemic, but do you see an increase now that there's more people in need, because you're still serving seniors, correct? Or
yes.
Or have you changed some of that to maybe not necessarily seniors?
It's primarily seniors. Okay. Some people we serve may not be considered a senior, but they have a disability. Maybe they're blind, maybe they have MS, or even like PTSD. We know that disabilities aren't always visible, right? So the volunteers are really important because we've brought on over 2,500 new clients since the pandemic had started, and we're still adding new clients. Like every week, it's like 100 people might come on service, and some people leave service because maybe their health got better, which is the outcome that we're looking for, right? Sure. If they were looking to us for some temporary assistance. But those volunteers make it possible for us to continue to serve, and we think, once we're in that bigger space, we'll be able to produce more food, have more volunteers come in to help distribute the food, and just more people in general to be able to service the need in the community, because we're sure with the way that the senior population is growing that the need is going to continue to grow, especially here in San Antonio.
And it would allow us to think of other services that we could be able to offer to our clients that really our current building was our limit to what we can't do. So it'll be a great, campus building, from the community, by the community, for the community. So we're very excited.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. That sounds great. That instead of downsizing, you're getting bigger. So.
I mean, the need's only going to grow, and we are, in addition to getting back to that 5 days a week, it's not just getting people to our building and making sure they can get in and out faster. It's building out our pickup points across the city again. So if there's a community, like a church or a business that is able to help us by being a designated pickup point all 5 days a week, because that's what we need to get back to, is picking up from pickup points 5 days a week, so our volunteers have that consistency as well, then that's really, really huge. And we know it makes it easier for volunteers when they can go to a place closer to where they're going to be delivering. They don't have to come to us and then go all the way back to maybe where they live.
So basically what I'm understanding is you're looking like for satellites in different areas of cities. And now are they required to have a certain, like, do you have to have a facility where they can maintain these? Are they frozen? I think the ones where you're still cooking.
Right now they're frozen. When we get to be cooking, we will provide heaters. That's how we operated before, and we shut down all of the pickup points when the pandemic started and everything was coming out of Babcock. And it's only in the last few months that we've started getting more pickup points across the city. And the feedback's been really great in terms of the volunteers are glad that we're going back to that. But we just need to make sure we're more consistently across the city so we can serve all of the areas that we provide food to, with volunteers from that area. Some places have, some areas of town are a little bit easier to find those spaces, but it is definitely a thing that we know when we've got more of those spaces, it'll be easier for volunteers to step up and say, yeah, I want to come back, I want to do it.
And it's so easy to volunteer. It's only 1 hour of your time during
that's what I was going to get to.
Yeah.
What if somebody's listening? Because we always have a lot of listeners, and sometimes they're wondering, I want to do something, maybe help out, but I don't know where. This is a great opportunity. If you're listening, maybe something inside of you has been saying, I need to give back. I think we're out of not necessarily totally out of the pandemic, but I think it's safe enough where you can say, okay, I need to do something, because doing nothing for so long, believe me, it just wears you out, or it just messes you up in a lot of ways.
Yep.
It's getting back into the routine of what we were doing before. I mean, people are still getting back into the routine of maybe going to work on a regular basis.
Right.
But like Jose was saying, that 1 hour, if it's once a month and we know you're coming like that Monday, that second Monday of the month every month, then like that's great. That's 10 more people who are going to get food and don't have to worry about where it's coming from, and they're going to be looking forward to seeing you too. Once they start seeing you, they get used to seeing you. If they have a substitute, because we've had to fill in as staff, our team has been delivering a lot of meals this summer because of the volunteer shortage, and that means that we aren't able to maybe assess new clients who want to come on board and receive meals. We aren't able to raise the money to make sure we can feed them. So, I mean, at the end of the day, we're delivering our mission, but we know that there's so many more who we should be serving. And those volunteers are really just going to make it possible for us to do so much more. Their impact is really so great. And I mean, we never say thank you enough, but...
Right.
Yeah, and it's very important. There's this one story from when we started transitioning to back to 5 days a week. One of our coworkers went to go deliver meals, and he goes to this lady's apartment, and she's not answering the door, but he hears like cries for help.
Oh my God.
So, he calls the security, calls 911, and they're trying to get the door open. They finally get it open. It was dead bolted, so it was very hard. And she's on the floor like bleeding with a gash on her head.
She fell.
Yeah, and so thankfully he was there to hear that, and she was on a daily delivery route where she's going to be seen every day, because if she wasn't, then
don't tell me
who knows
what
when she
happened.
might have been assessed, or even like someone might have seen her. So it's very important that we go back to delivering all these meals every day to people, and just providing that safety check.
Right, and just the contact, the interaction that you have, because a lot of times some of these seniors are by themselves, they have no one that comes to visit with them, and that once you get into that state of mind, I think you deteriorate in so many different ways, because you're not engaging, or you don't have that dialogue with people, and at least something like this, they anticipate like, oh, I know someone's coming, so I get to talk to them and I get a meal, whatever the case may be. So if that, of course, it's a great thing to be able to do. If somebody wants to volunteer, or maybe is looking for more information, who can they contact, or where can they go to get more information about what Meals and Wheels are? Absolutely.
So we have our website. It's mowsatx.org. So like Meals on Wheels, San Antonio, Texas. So mowsatx.org. And on there you can find all sorts of information about all of our volunteer opportunities. You'll see we're focusing on those meal delivery volunteer opportunities. But you can also learn more about donating if you're able to provide a gift. The average meal is like $6 to $7 these days, because we've been impacted the way every individual household has been impacted. Even though we might buy in bulk, it doesn't mean we get a much deeper discount, right? And we have a fleet of vehicles that we have to maintain, to gas up. And the more people who volunteer, honestly, that can reduce the cost of the meal per meal, and make it possible for us to provide, higher nutrition meals, better meals to all of the people that we're serving. So it really the community makes it possible in the first place, and every time somebody comes out and delivers, they're making even more possible.
Right. Now, it's not that I'm being nosy or anything, but I mean, I'm curious, the funding, is it mostly all volunteer that they donate the money, or is it through grants? Or all the stuff you're doing, I'm kind of wondering, how do you guys get funded?
Yeah, it's a little bit of everything. Yeah. We receive funding from the state.
Okay.
So we ask for grants, and the surrounding counties help us to feed the people in those counties, and then we get county money, and that helps a lot.
Sure.
Some of the funding comes from the insurance, like if people have Medicare or some kind of insurance like that, they will pay for their meals. But a good chunk comes from the individuals, so the community, our neighbors, right? So that is probably our biggest chunk of funding, because people understand that you need food. That's what you need. And then also our corporate partners. Mm-hmm. So I won't name them because they'll probably come after me if I say one specific.
He says one and not all the rest of them. We're so grateful for all of them.
Right,
though.
but no, they're all great, and they'll step up to the to the plate if we need some kind of sponsorship or something. So it comes from all directions, and we're very thankful.
And I mean, the money is well worth it when we talk about like maybe insurance pays for it, because the cost of a year of meals might be equivalent to like a day in the hospital. And if somebody's receiving meals and they're nourished and they've been receiving proper nutrition, if they get sick, they're more likely to recover and not end up back in the hospital on the other side of things. So it's a whole like, you know, circle of we feed them because they need it, but then like it means that hopefully in the future they're just better off for all of it.
Yeah, you're being proactive instead of waiting until they get sick and stuff because they weren't getting fed properly or whatever the case may be. And so, yeah, sometimes you have to look at it and then versus, you know, it's like, yeah, I think we're better off doing this than having to do this over here. So it's a great way. And again, all the different people that help and sponsor whatever you are doing, thank you so much, because of you, you know, people are able to eat and hopefully increase their lifespan, because times are tough right now. It's very difficult, especially with shortages the way they are and everything. You guys are providing something that's much needed and much of a necessity in so many different ways.
Yeah, no, it's really, really huge the way that the community supported us throughout the pandemic, and, you know, without them and just the support of, like, you know, the corporations like Jose was talking about, we wouldn't have made it through some of those days in the pandemic. We added a bunch of people really like as they needed, and we were like, we will figure out how to pay for this and how to make sure it's all covered later, but we can't say no to people in need.
That's the hardest part, because you know that you need food, right? And to say, yeah, I can't, I'm sorry, it makes things very difficult. But, you know, where there's a will, there's always a way. And again, like I said, you know, the people that really help sponsor or contribute. I know we had a gentleman here that was at our meeting, and he said, you know, well, I'm a business, I don't know what I can do to help. I said, you know, sometimes just if you can't do something by coming in volunteering or doing something, you know, let's be honest, if you can write a check, that's going to allow somebody else to do what maybe you can't do because you're not there, but being able to contribute financially can get these meals or, you know, the things that they need to be able to do the job.
It's an absolute necessity. I mean, all of it is important.
Sure.
We're all about being there for the clients. We want to make sure that every person who needs services, who qualifies for services, receives them. That includes making sure we have the right people on our staff. We are always hiring right now, especially. So if anyone wants to, you know, has it in their heart to serve seniors, whether it's because they do assessments for them or they're delivering meals themselves. But the volunteer aspect of it, like we said, there's just something really, really special about it, and knowing that you might be the only person that person sees all day, and the joy that they have when they answer the door. Some people, like, that's why they get dressed in the morning and they get up, and like, think about the own sense of purpose you have when you're like, I've got someplace to go, or I've got someone to see. Like, it can really just change the course of your day, and I mean the trajectory of everything.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
I like to call it like a Texas history tour, because you learn so much from when you're delivering meals. I remember we were just doing this one route, and there was a lady who she's a daughter of a former mayor in San Antonio. I'm like, wow, that's amazing. Like, and she would tell me about all the stuff he did.
Yeah, each one is a book, right?
Yeah.
The more you live, the more chapters you have in life.
Yep.
Well, we're just about to the end of our broadcast here. Anything else that we need to know about really quick?
Any way you're able to help, go to mowsatx.org. We're on social media, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, all of that great stuff.
Okay.
We'd love to see you.
Thank you.